Good morning, everybody! Welcome to another edition of Jake and Justin in the Morning. First episode of season 3. We have a new guest for you today. Welcome, Kenley Pierre. Kenley, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's nice to be in this show today. The first one for this season, and I'm really ecstatic. Ready to break it down all sports to you. And let's go.
All right, Kenley. What did you have for Breck?
Cereal. That Cocoa Puffs.
All right. Justin?
That's it.
I had coffee, just straight coffee. Can't go wrong. But at the end of the day, coffee is just liquid food. It's that simple. That's what a beverage is, liquid food. So yeah, that's basically what I had.
All right, I had multigrain Cheerios and a bagel and cream cheese.
All right. Well, we have a great show for you all today. We got a lot to cover.
Yes, we do.
Because this week or the week before was the weekend of just play. It was playoff weekend for the NFL, and there were 4 really close, really great matches. So we're gonna break them down, starting with the first one of the weekend, which was Bengals Titans. Excuse me, Bengals Panthers. I swear. Bengals Titans. It was 19-16, and ended off on a field goal. And the Bengals won. They advanced. They've won 2 games. Joe Burrow has won 2 of his. Has been in the playoffs once in the NFL. Well, this is it. He's now 2-0. Kenley, let's start with you, man. What do you think about Joe Burrow and the Bengals' performance?
Joe Burrow. Well, I feel like he performed well. There's for his first time being in the playoffs. He comes in, he's playing, I have to say, lights out. The amount of passing yards he's throwing, and it seems like the connection with Jamar Chase is growing even stronger. Not only him, but you have Boyd and the other receiver, T. Higgins. So it seems like he has a good group of collective receivers, and he's getting the ball out to them. Even though the protection is not there, it's just not there with the O-line, the front. He's still able to get the ball out there, still reading the defense pre-snap. It's looking Brady-esque. So 2 playoff wins so far, and he's been cooking for the first time being in the playoffs. So with 2 playoff wins, he's looking on point, and the defense is playing decent. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does something even special for this week's championship game.
Yeah, I thought Joe Burrow looked great. This guy has so much confidence. This guy has never lost a must-win game. Going back to his last year at LSU, and then this year, you had the SEC. First you had the game against Alabama, where he needed to win to make sure they got into the college football playoff. Then you had the SEC championship game against Georgia, the semifinals against Oklahoma, the Natty against Clemson. Then you had week 15 against the Ravens. That was to take sole position in the first place in the division. Week 16 or 17 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Who they're playing, you beat them. That was to clinch the division. And then he's won 2 playoff games. The guy, I think, is like 9-0. He's averaging like 434 to 40 yards a game. He's got like 30 touchdowns against no picks. He's insane in must-win games. The Bengals got themselves a keeper. They got an incredible wide receiver trio. They got a really good defense. Zach Taylor's turning into a really good coach. Bengals are going to be very good for a very long time. It appears the North is their division. Baltimore definitely has some issue on defense. Can Lamar Jackson throw the football? The Steelers are going to have to reset. The Browns are going to have to reset. I don't think Baker Mayfield's the guy there until he leaves that team. They're not going to make the playoffs. So it's their division for a very long time, kind of like how it looks like the Buffalo Bills. It's their division now with Tom Brady leaving New England. And I think it'll be a really close game this Sunday against Kansas City. I could even see Cincinnati winning. I'm picking the Chiefs. I think Cincinnati's got a good shot. I think Joe Burrow look great.
And to be honest, yeah, you guys are exactly right. For the future, if we wanna, I'm gonna make it brief right here with Joe Burrow's future in the division. I feel like the only contest that he has, the only team that's a threat, I would say, is Baltimore. And the only reason why, it's not just, yes, I feel like Lamar has gotten a little bit better throwing the ball. It's just pre-snap, reading the defense. That's it. Other than that, Lamar should be fine. But the defense was just not healthy at all. They had a bunch of injuries. I would like to see a Bengals team go against a healthy Baltimore team. Let's see if they could hold up against a healthy Baltimore team. And then we'll see, maybe from there, like if we'll see that if it's Joe Burrow's division or if it's Lamar, because it's really between these two guys in that division. It's a power struggle going on because we haven't really seen Burrow go against Baltimore's real defense yet. So even though he's throwing 500 yards, but that was against practice squad players. Remember that.
Yeah, here's the one thing about this Bengals Titans game that was quite underrated. So think about Joe Burrow here. His second year, his first year was cut short because he got injured because his O-line sucked. He's playing against a team that's expected to be a Super Bowl contender because they had the likes of Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, and Julio Jones. And here's the thing: he got sacked 9 times. And he might have been hobbling his way across the field, but he never, like, you could see him. He didn't lose confidence. He stayed cool. He stayed poised. And I think that's also why they won the game, because he was just still stayed confident that he was going to win. No, it was tight, but congratulations to Joe Burrow, because that was I watched that game in its entirety, and he was getting crushed out there. That O-line just could not save him if he was in a burning building. Really, they could not save the man. And I'm glad he has Jamar Chase back on his team, because this guy is the biggest. He's the definition of what you call a wide receiver / running back, because he's just so damn good. But this O-line after this game, like, all seriously, they beat the Titans because Ryan Tannehill threw that game. Ryan Tannehill has 1 touchdown, 3 picks. I think if you're going up against the Chiefs, where they just do have a better defense, I think you're going to lose. And even if they do barely beat the Chiefs, they're not beating the Super Bowl. They're not beating the NFC. I just don't see it, because that O-line is just going to kill Joe Burrow. It really is. But let's move on to the next game. Jake, do I have to do the next game? Do we have to talk about?
Yeah, you gotta talk about it.
I have to talk about. We have to talk about 49ers Packers. Why? What? Okay. For anyone who missed this game, we're gonna break it down for you. But the 49ers upset the Packers, beating them 13-10. 1 minute.
This game was a little painful to watch at times.
You know what, Jake? Explain to the audience what is your reaction of this game, if you can even call it that.
My reaction is Aaron Rodgers will be playing for a different team next year. Okay, this guy, he came in when he came into this year. We all knew if Aaron Rodgers was there at the beginning of the year, we knew they'd be 12, 13 wins, have a shot to win the Super Bowl like every year, and every year he comes up short. And I thought it was possible if he won the Super Bowl, he would have left. Now he loses in the second round to Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, I don't see him coming back. The special teams, the Packers special teams unit was the worst unit in the NFL. They had the worst special teams in the NFL this year. They were straight trash, and the special teams gave up 13 points. They gave up 2 field goals and a block punt return touchdown, and they gave up a block field goal, which would have been 3 extra points. So the special teams did lose this game. However, Aaron Rodgers didn't do enough. This guy is probably going to win his 2nd straight MVP, his 4th MVP of his career. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. And obviously he's not done yet. I would definitely say he still definitely has quite a few years left if he wants. And he did not throw a single touchdown. 225 yards, no touchdowns. That's, as Gordon Ramsay would say, not good enough. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough.
Well, I would say his performance, when you look at the first half, I was thinking the Packers got this game. Aaron Rodgers, A-Rod, his game is looking good. But then when you get to the second half, it looked kind of subpar. They couldn't really do much on offense, but they got the funny thing is, they got most of their players involved. Most of those players that needed to get involved got involved. Their star players, Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. They got involved. Whether Aaron Jones was running the ball, carrying the ball, or he was catching the ball. Either way, and he got himself involved. But they got these guys involved, but still managed to lose the game. But what the key was, it was that one key fourth down play with the punt, the black punt. That's where things to me started going downhill. They may have had that Mercedes Lewis fumble, but after that, wow, I'm like, no, this is still a game. Aaron Rodgers is gonna find a way. He's a bad man, like Stephen A would say. But I feel like that one specific play right there, and as we know, special teams was a problem all year for the Packers. It was. All right. But right here, it cost him at the wrong time.
Yeah, I thought this was a good game. I thought it was, even though it was low scoring, I thought it was a good game. Both defenses did play quite well. But no, the biggest issue of that, I guess Aaron Rodgers did not play that good. Having only 10 points is not impressive, especially in a game where it really matters. But that's kind of Aaron Rodgers' thing, right? Like he never really comes through when it matters in the playoffs. But this special teams, my God. Like I was talking about this all week. The special teams of the Packers, like you can be bad. I've seen special teams be bad, but I watch the Jets all the time. And not even the Jets special teams does something as bad as this. Like if you guys can't see my background right now, is literally the blocked punt. How are you allowed to just cut through and block a punt for a touchdown return? I think there's a bunch of people going. I think Mason Crosby's going, especially like he's washed, or as I would say, he's bleached. Because when you bleach something, it's stronger than it being washed. And there's actually some other side news with this. Nathaniel Hackett has just been announced as the Broncos head coach. Now this is big because does this mean Aaron Rodgers goes to the Broncos? And it wouldn't surprise you that no matter where he goes, Aaron Rodgers will follow him, because I don't think the Packers can even afford Devontae Adams. I don't think they can afford Devontae Adams. The $40 million they have, I believe, in cap space. So no, you're not going to be able to pay for Devontae Adams. So are we thinking Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos? Join Nathaniel Hackett? Throw Mike LaFleur to the dust? Throw Matt LaFleur, to the dust, not Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur's the bad one. Kenley, what do you think?
You see, what I can't understand is why it's ever since the season started, when Aaron Rodgers was scuffling with the Packers front office, right? I was just wondering, why has this team been brought up? Why has this specific team been brought up, Denver Broncos?
Well, it's really been brought up because Denver they're basically a quarterback away from being a really serious playoff contender. And
with all those receiving cores,
right?
With the
And, they have a very good receiving core as well. So Aaron Rodgers will be set up well. The defense is very good. They have other issues as well. Obviously, the coaching was a problem. That's why they made a coaching change. But it just made a lot of sense, I guess.
Okay, so so we know they have a really good receiving core and all that. They made it some right decisions with the Von Miller trading him this season. They've done some things. It's like I think right, and the other side, I feel like they're good on offense. If they get Aaron Rodgers, they should be fine, But like when you think about it, it's the other side of the ball. It looks like they're regrouping on the defensive side of the ball. It looks young. They still got Bradley Chubb over there, Patrick Surtain. But there needs to be some cleaning on the defensive side. Needs some fixing up to do. For this team to be right where they want to be. But other than that, if they do make the trade, I guess it's possible with the hiring of the offensive coordinator with the OC. And the system will be much more familiar with Rodgers because that OC was with him in Green Bay. But I think it should be fine. You should be able to succeed. But as we know, the AFC West, if he does join, to make this last point, if he does join the AFC West, then that division will be really stacked with Mahomes, Herbert, Carr possibly still there. You have all these top quarterbacks in that one division. How does he get out of that division? I gotta ask you that, Jake, and Justin. How does he get out of that division? Okay, you go from the NFC North, you're dominating that division, and you're basically dominating the NFC with Tom Brady. But when you go to the AFC, you got some youngsters. He's swimming full of sharks with youngsters like Lamar and Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Burrow, with all these QBs. So how does that work? Will he get? Because it wouldn't make sense if they get past those guys, because those guys, it's not just because of how good they are. It's just you got the division, and then you got the teams outside of the division. So I don't know if he can get to another ring with that. That's a heavy load.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Kenley. He's got to go through Mahomes and Herbert. I mean, the Chargers with Herbert didn't make the playoffs this year. That's because Brendan Staley was a timeout machine this year. He just tore for timeout in the worst possible spots. He was too aggressive. He didn't do a good enough job this year. And I think if they get a couple more pieces, they'll be a playoff team. The Chiefs ain't going anywhere. Chiefs are going to be a Super Bowl contender for many years. You think, all right, if Rodgers goes with a decent receiving core, a decent O-line, a decent defense, he's almost down. I mean, he's downgrading what he had in Green Bay. Like you said, Green Bay was a cakewalk to win the division because Minnesota's always mediocre. The Bears are awful. The Lions are the Lions. They're god awful. And now he's going into a division where you could argue he's the third best team in that division. He's only the second or third best team in that division. So
Brady and Manning didn't have that type of problem moving to a new team. So this will be right. It kind of would be an awful move. It would be all been.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna happen. First of all, the guys, I don't know who his relationship is with Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, his relationship with the Packers is they drafted Jordan Love the past 2 years has not been great. So it's not like him and Nathaniel Hackett are close friends. I'm sure they get along well enough. His issue's been more with the GM than the coaching staff. But if he's gonna have to go through Mahomes and Herbert for as long as he's gonna play there, which he is going to because he's 38 and Mahomes and Herbert are in their mid-20s, low 20s, and he's not Hackett's not his favorite coach of all time. Oh, I think Cam's having some technical problems. He'll be right back. If he's not his favorite coach, I don't know why he wouldn't explore maybe going somewhere else. There's plenty of a lot of things in the quarterback. Cleveland needs a quarterback. Miami might need a quarterback. If the Raiders move on from what they got, if the Vikings move on, he won't go to the Vikings, but there's Justin's face there. But a lot of teams, maybe Pittsburgh, then just retire. We'll get to that later. So a lot of decisions need to be made.
I mean, the thing is, my face like everybody's going to Miami, dude. Every quarterback's going to Miami now. Like Aaron Rodgers going to Miami, Deshaun Watson's going to Miami. Like, I don't think the Raiders are going to get rid of Derek Carr because I guess they see everything in him. When I think he's just kind of, he's not. I don't think he's fantastic. But if he does go to the Broncos, that would make them as scary as they were since Peyton Manning was on there, and it would be a massive upgrade compared to who I think is the greatest quarterback of all time, Drew Lock. But here's the thing. Also, a good step for the Broncos finally picking up a good head coach. You get rid of Vic Fangio, who's now getting interviewed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now you're picking up, and now you picked up the offensive coordinator for the Packers, which is a big deal considering that the Packers offense has always been quite good.
Yeah, and they're also considering the Packers offensive line coach for his offensive coordinator. I'm not sure if it will happen, but clearly they're looking to get Aaron Rodgers if they're bringing in all those old coaches,
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to our next game. So let me just set the stage for you. We're right now going to be talking about the Rams and Buccaneers game. So Jake, you go down to Florida often, right? Would you say it's hot there in the summer?
Yes, it is scorching hot.
Okay.
90 degrees.
Okay. So I guess when in Tampa, you're gonna get torched. Just like Antoine Winfield did when he got freaking torched by Cooper Kupp. My God, what a game that was. Once again, ended off on a field goal thanks to Matt Gay's field goal, but that was all set up because that final pass by Matt Stafford. Throwing it to a wide open Cooper Kupp, the score is 30-27. Kenley, what's your reaction to that one, man? Tom Brady out of the Super Bowl.
I'm sorry with the technical difficulty. I don't know what went wrong. I was out for a minute, but it was with that game. Talk about something that was unbelievable from start to finish. Because at one point in the game, I'm thought that, hey, another blowout? Come on, man. That's something that I don't need in these, playoff games. But all of a sudden, things turn around out of nowhere. And, it's Brady with the comebacks. He's the comeback kid. But that last play right there, it just really bothered me. Not just that play, also the play with the Cam Akers fumbling. It just came out of the bloom. I didn't understand that. You got to protect the ball in these situations. I don't understand. But then the last play with Antoine and Winfield, it's just that does not make sense to me. I didn't like how the fact that they had to blitz the nickel, the corner in that situation. I feel like they should have double covered Cooper Kupp. So it was a crazy game, and I would say it's well deserved by Matthew Stafford. So.
Okay. Todd Bowles, he's Mets head coach. Wasn't great there, but he was young. Probably deserves another shot. He's doing some interviews. He's done a great job as defensive coordinator there. But that play call reminded me of Greg Williams. I was having flashbacks when Greg Williams called an all-out blitz on a Hail Mary against the Raiders a couple years ago in the last year of the Adam Gase era with the New York Jets. Like, Cooper Kupp had 145 receptions in the regular season. Maybe the greatest receiving season ever. And you leave him one-on-one with the safety on the biggest play of the game? Dude, you just can't do that. He's got to be double covered there. He must be double covered. There's no reason for him not to be double covered. If OBJ beats you, fine. If they run the ball and they beat you, fine. But you cannot let Cooper Kupp beat you in that spot. That was a terrible, terrible play call, and it's the reason they lost.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna say it's goodbye, Tom Brady. See ya. I can't be happier. I couldn't be happier with Tom Brady again now. I think that game, especially if you watch it, he was getting bailed out by everything. Like, what? The drive before, Jalen Ramsey is the only one guarding Mike Evans, and he ran just straight for a touchdown.
It's like Ramsey let that happen.
Yeah, well, Ramsey for some reason seems to always let it happen, which I find to be a bit of an issue for that Rams. I think he's good, but in moments like that, you gotta be there. Like, you just gotta be ready to just turn around and try to, like. No, I'm not saying to pick it off, but you gotta at least make the coverage harder for him. It's Mike Evans. He was like a top 3 wide receiver going into the league this year, and you can't be doing that. But I really gotta know: is this the end for Tom Brady? He's gonna be turning 45 in August. He got, he got rolled, I should say, by Matt Gay. Once again, special teams coming in clutch this weekend. Is this Tom Brady's last game?
I don't know. I mean, he's got years left. I mean, at 44, he had 5,300 yards and 40 touchdowns. Like, he had a great year. He's an MVP candidate. It sounds like he's almost leaning toward retirement. He's going up to the podium saying, it's not about me, it's what my family wants. Giselle doesn't like me getting hit so much. It's. I mean, imagine you're the love of your life. You're watching theirs getting driven into the ground. Something you love for like that that's got to be hard to watch for Giselle. And his kids are young. He's got one who's like 13, 14. He had his previous marriage. His other couple are very young. It must be, hard to watch. So I don't see him playing past next year. I think if he does come back, next year is his last year. I think that'll be obviously be a huge shock. I think he plays one more year. Only one more year, but I do think he plays one more year. I'm not a fan, so I kind of hope he retires, but I do think he plays one more year.
If you look at it from the game, he played well. Although he had that one pick, he was 1 for 1, 329 yards with a 72 QB rating. It wasn't bad, him playing in the game, but Jake does make a good point. This is family. We want to see him get hit after play continuously, especially at the age that he is right now at 44. I know he wants to retire around 45, 46. But this sport, there's not really that much longevity, but somehow he's been able to be here for that long. I wouldn't mind if he retired this year. It's just he accomplished so much. So I could see him risking it all for next year, coming back, hopefully for another championship run. I hope not, but I could see it. But he still can play. He still can ball. But I hope he retires. Though.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Brady. It wouldn't surprise me if Brady wants to go out like Peyton Manning did, just get a Super Bowl and then retire. Because I could understand him wanting to do that. I could see players having people out wanting to do that. Like, I want to end my career winning a Super Bowl. No, I want you to remember my last game ever is the Super Bowl, and we won it. That I could see that, but if as a spectator, it's not coming from a hater. It's coming from just a general spectator. Tom Brady has nothing more to prove. He won 7 rings, more than any franchise ever has won. He has all these passing records. He's going to go down as an all-time great in football. I think, he's already been set for a Hall of Fame, 5 years ago at this point? It's like really, there's nothing more he has to do. If his family, I would do it for his family, because I could imagine, he's got kids. He's got kids, and concussions, CTE, those are big things in the NFL. And if I were Brady, I would make a high consideration of retiring, but it would be a respectable decision if he said, I want to win off on a Super Bowl. I'm not sure if it's the best one, but it's a reasonable one.
Also, considering who his wife is, it might not be the worst at the end of the world to hang out with her. If you know what I'm talking about.
All right. Anyway, let's move on to what I thought was the best game of the weekend. This is the Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills, which went to overtime 42-36. I mean, this was a blockbuster game. So, Jake, I want to hear your reaction on this first, and then I also want you to let me know, was this the game of the year?
Okay, so my reaction was, holy you know what? That game was insane. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are going to be battling for the next 10, 12, 15 years. They're two of the top 5 quarterbacks in the game. Playoff Mahomes is built different. The Bills are a great team as well. They got a great team as well. Incredible game. I think 32 points were scored after the 2-minute warning of the fourth quarter. That 32 points between the two teams after a 2-minute warning of the fourth quarter. That is just absolutely nuts. You had the Chiefs took the lead with 2 minutes left. The Bills went down in like a 45 seconds, took the lead with like a minute, and the Chiefs took it back, and then with 13 seconds left, the Bills took the lead. 13 seconds. Mahomes had 13 seconds, and he still went 40 yards and got a field goal. And then, of course, he went down and scored on the first drive in overtime. The Bills you can't kick the ball out of the end zone. If you make them return it and they only have 9 or 10 seconds, they're looking at one out of bounds play and then probably a Hail Mary. Which, knowing Mahomes is probably doable, but it's a lot less likely than, Harrison Butker kicking a 54-yard field goal. So that was a big mistake by the Bills, special teams coordinator. Probably should be on the hot seat over there. Another special teams mess up. There seems to be very common this past weekend. But incredible game. They got you into the overtime, bros, okay? Each team to get one possession. If it's still tied, even if they both score a touchdown, next score wins. That's what I think it should be. Hopefully it gets changed this offseason. As for Justin, I apologize. What was your second question?
I gotta know, was this the game of the year?
I think it was. Before this game, I thought it was Chargers Raiders, last game of the season, the winner go home. I watched that game in my basement, but back in New York. That game probably took about 10 years off my life. That game was nuts. Justin Herbert just went badonkers. But this was the game of the year. 32 points scored in the final 2 minutes. Incredible game.
With this game right here, again, another back and forth game. It was a dogfight. And I mean, in an offensive sense, sense of it, like it was a shootout. What I saw right there was like with two QBs in the future, QBs of the future going at it, and Allen and Mahomes. 13 seconds, Mahomes I can't believe he was able to pull off a field goal in 13 seconds. That's something I could do in Madden. All right. But in reality, I thought the number one defense. That's the problem here. The number one defense. Because I'm a defensive guy. I play football, I'm a defensive guy. And I was kind of disappointed at the same time. You're the number one defense. You're first and past. How do you let that happen? 13 seconds. I know they're missing Tre'Davious Sweat, but still, there's no excuse. You have two great safeties, and you let that happen. That's not tolerable right there. But then again, is this the game of the year? Absolutely. At one part, I thought week 1, Ravens Raiders was the game of the year, but then the Chargers Raiders blew my mind, and then this game right here. That ball that Mahomes threw to Kelsey, it was a little questionable to me, but I saw after seeing it again, he was able to get his 2 feet in there. Um, but then at the end of the game, Mahomes saluting Josh Allen. These are the two QBs. I know people are saying Herbert and Burrow, but I think Allen and Mahomes are the two. They're the top tier of the AFC. And what an amazing game. Unbelievable.
Yeah, what a game. Really. It's like you have two generational quarterbacks going up against each other in this game. And it was tight all the way through. I was impressed with the way both teams played. I feel a little bit bad for Josh Allen and Gabriel Davis because Gabriel Davis had 4 touchdown catches. Like it's almost like how much more did they have to do? Because what they should have what the Bills defense should have known by now is this. It's almost like what we said about Tom Brady. People say you can't sleep on Tom Brady. You can't sleep on Patrick Mahomes. Like in 10 seconds, he got 40 yards. It's that simple for the man. It's really not that difficult for him. It's just another day in the office. And yeah, the overtime rule is kind of BS. It's what screwed the Chiefs in the AFC Championship a few years ago. Remember that when for Super Bowl 53, if the OT rules were different there, they probably would have made a Super Bowl. But it was a great game. I think it was the game of the year. I definitely do. I think if at least one of them were in the NFC, it would look like a Super Bowl game. It was down to the wire. I don't think any team played particularly bad, but it was a good game all around. Like, shout out to Josh Allen for also, like I said, shout out to the Bills. They might have lost, but they still, like, if I'm in that locker room, I would not be upset with that loss. I just wouldn't. You didn't play bad. You didn't get gapped by Mahomes. You put up a really strong fight. That was a lot of football. Let's move over to basketball. Because we're getting very close to the All-Star break, we got a lot of things to talk about with basketball. Let's first start off with the NBA superstar, the Nets guard James Harden, who has recently come out saying why he'd like to be in a different team. And he kind of has 3 reasons as to why. Firstly, he's frustrated with Kyrie Irving's status. As you guys know, Kyrie Irving is not vaccinated and therefore can't play home games and cannot practice at home. So he's very much disadvantaged there. He's disappointed with Steve Nash's rotations. And finally, he just doesn't really like living in Brooklyn, which is understandable. You know, the city isn't for everybody. But Kenley, are these frustrations, would you say they're justified right now for James Harden?
I guess it's somewhat justified. But I could understand them with the weather, Brooklyn, the city and stuff like that. But if you're talking about the end game, like situation with the lineups and minutes, I don't understand why he's complaining. He has more touches than Kyrie. Kyrie, I thought in this big 3 situation, you got 3 guys that want the ball, right? Especially when in clutch time. You know how good these guys are in clutch time. But when you look at the game closely, I see that James Harden is getting the ball predominantly here. And I thought it would be Kyrie, but Kyrie's playing on the wing. Durant is playing on the wing. He's the one that's bringing the ball up, setting up the offense. I don't understand why he's complaining. It's his offense. But I'm guessing, to be honest, I think the main reason is I think Kyrie's part-time status. I think that's one of the problems, him not being there as much, not knowing the offense. Well, because you got to remember, these guys don't really play as much. They haven't been really playing together on the court that much. There's been some injuries. Now you have Kevin Durant out right now. And you had the Kyrie situation. They haven't been really playing together, especially in the playoffs. That's what cost them. a run at the championship. So I don't understand why he's complaining. I get the injuries, I get the weather, and I understand him for leaving. But before I end this, I would say a good spot that I believe he should go is probably Philly. I think they really want that I think a Ben Simmons, James Harden trade. I think it could likely come. It could likely happen.
And this is an interesting scenario because they just traded for him last year. They gave up literally every single draft pick they had. Let's don't get at least 2 or 3 championships out of this. I think this experiment's a failure. This team was built for a dynasty. You brought in 3 guys who were still in their early 30s. So they still probably had 4, 5, 6 prime years left. In Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. You know, you first 2 guys, the first 2, Kyrie and Durant, of course, got max free signings a couple years ago, and then last year they made a trade for James Harden. You got other role players too. Some of them aren't there right now, some of them are hurt, but you got, Joe Harris, Patty Mills, Marcus Aldridge, and they should be able to be competing for a championship. And you could argue that even though they'll be a top 4 team in the East, they should probably be running away with that conference, and they're not. And a lot of it has to do because those 3 guys can't stay on the court together. Durant's always getting hurt, Kyrie's always getting hurt. It's got the vaccine thing. Harden was hurt last year, so it's been the situation. It's been kind of a flop, and honestly, I don't know if Harden's going to be on the Nets next year. I'm honestly leaning toward he's not going to be on the Nets next year. Not wanting to live in Brooklyn, it's understandable. New York City's not for everyone. I'm from New York. I've been in the city a lot. My grandma lives there. I'm not a fan of the city. I do not plan on living in the city ever, ever. So I could see that. The rotations, like you said, he's getting playing time. I'm not sure. It might be more. It's just the stuff going around him. Obviously in the playoffs, he didn't play in the Claxton a lot. I know Justin's a Nets fan, so he didn't like that. So maybe things like that. That might be he's like he might be telling Ash, I want to win more than anybody. So I don't mean to come out and throw you under the bus, but if I you got to do a better job. The Kyrie thing, I definitely understand. I would if I was in a situation, I probably wouldn't be happy with that either. I don't agree with his decision to not get vaccinated as a public figure and as a situation that he's in. Speaking, he has a commitment to the Brooklyn Nets. He's getting paid like $40 million a season. Although it is still a choice, he is a choice that he is making. But that must be really frustrating. He wanted out of Houston. He was tired of carrying the load. He comes here thinking, I'm gonna carry the load anymore. And all of a sudden, Kevin Durant's always out with long-term injury. No, Kyrie can't play at home, and he can play road games, but he can't play in certain places in California. I'm not even sure he can play in Arizona where the Phoenix Suns play. So he can't even play all road games either. He can play most of them, but not all of them. So that's probably been really frustrating for him. There's a lot of things that are really starting to build up. I actually predict he will not be on the Nets next season. They said they're not going to trade him. You really can't trade him unless you get a superstar back for him when you're competing for a championship. Him for Ben Simmons, he's a far superior player, but I think if the Sixers include Tobias Harris, maybe a first-round pick, and maybe a little money, I could see that trade happening. I don't think him straight out, that's not going to work. Nets wouldn't accept that unless Sean Marks is really, really dumb. But I think if the Sixers and Nets pull some strings, I think that trade could happen.
Okay. Here's my thought about it. James Harden's not going to be in the Nets next year, but luckily for him, he will find a team. Everybody wants this guy. He's one of the most prolific scorers in the league. He really is. If there are so many people who deserved a ring and who just never got one, he is one of them. He is one of them who deserves a ring. And I can understand him going to the Nets because he wants to, because just like in Houston, as rude as it was for him to say in Houston that we're just not good enough, he was right though. You can't it's every single time on the Rockets you have this 30-point game with a triple double, and he'd still lose, just like he did with the Lakers recently. And that could be very frustrating because it's like, what more do I have to do? For his complaint with Nash's rotations, I don't think it's about him not getting any time because he does. I think it's the fact that yeah, you're not putting in as much of your players as you should. Like, why are you putting in sometimes James Johnson over Nick Claxton? Like, his player rotations are stupid. I predict that Steve Nash is going to be out of a job next year, because if you take away Kevin Durant, if you take away Kyrie, if you take away James Harden, he's not that good of a coach. He really isn't. And it's unfortunate to say, but that's true. As for trading, which we're going to be talking about right after this, I don't think he's going to Philly. I don't know why he would want to go to Philly. Because if you look at all these teams, like Philly has right now Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, some good players, but I wouldn't say anybody outside of Joel Embiid is exceptional or match James Harden's skill. So yeah, you could trade Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris and first round pick for James Harden. If Sean Markson is an idiot, he'll take it. And Daryl Morey will be more than happy to take it because I would if they want that. But why would you go to a team to where once again you're kind of going to have to carry the load on guard duties? Like when we're looking at forwards, Joel Embiid's got it covered. He's an MVP candidate this year for all I think. He's a very good center, and usually Harden does have a lot of good experience with collaborating with centers, like he did with Capella. That duo was unstoppable. Whenever he just give it to Capella, it would just be a free 2 points. But like I said, if you were to trade Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons and then have James Harden there, you'd have like your second best player probably being Steph Curry. Then who's next? Furkan Korkmaz, Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, Danny Green. Like, it's nobody. It's not any of these people to where you're gonna win a ring like that. And it would really surprise me if he did win a ring with Philly, but I don't think he'll go there. I think there's probably another team out there that's gonna look for him. My personal fear, though, with this, that I don't want him to start taking the Westbrook path, to where he leaves his team that he was just so successful on, only to just start jumping teams. Because Russ Westbrook spent 8 years on the Thunder, and then in like 4 years he's had in 3 years he's had 3 different teams. He went to the Rockets, he went to the Wizards, now he's on the Lakers where he's missing where he's shooting over the backboard shots. I don't want the same to happen to Harden because I happen to like James Harden very much, and I think and I hope he's a very successful guy, because if anyone deserves it, it's somebody like him. Anyway, let's move on to trades. Trades. February 10th is the trade deadline. That's 2 weeks from now. Can you believe it? I can't. Jake, can you believe it? I know you can't. But there's a lot of big trades coming out where people are wondering something. Something new is with the Knicks, to where Julius Randle might be available to be traded, as is Kemba Walker. And so, Jake, Knicks fan, what do you feel about this? What do you feel? Let's start with this one first.
It's simple as this. Kemba Walker's washed. Evan Fournier does not fit on the Knicks, and the league's figured out Julius Randle. All 3 of them should be gone. All 3 of them, I would trade all 3 of them. They need to completely remake this team. This team is not good enough to compete for a championship. Right now, they're not even in the play-ins, and that is embarrassing. And now people are going to say last year was a fluke. It was a one-hit wonder. Tibbs isn't the right guy. Which I think he's a great coach. I don't think a lot of it's his fault, but that's a fair opinion for someone to have. They're going to stop saying, Leon Rose isn't the right guy to run the front office. The GM, Scott Perry's they'll start saying he's got to go. I think the front office has done a good job. This setup, they finally found the right setup in the front office. But, you bring in Kemba, who didn't get that big of a deal. But he comes in and, was so bad that he at one point was benched. He's only playing because they have nobody else to play point guard if Derrick Rose hurt. He's been horrible. You bring in Fournier for almost $80 million, and he's been extremely inconsistent. You give Randall a $120 million extension, and he came crashing back down to earth. He's looking like his first year with the Knicks when he was, basically an average player, was a very overpaid player. It's not been good enough. I've heard they're going to trade Randall. Heard they're going to trade Kemba Fournier, even Alec Burks. I think the entire starting lineup, they need to shake it up. If you want to, first of all, they got to trade for a point guard. Kemba and Alec Burks is not a point guard. Rose won't be coming back anytime soon. I don't think Emmanuel Quickly's ready to be a starter yet. So, go and get a point guard. Even if it's Jalen Brunson, who's, probably an average point guard. Somebody. Just a point guard that knows how to play basketball. You want to leave RJ in the starting lineup, that's fine. He's been playing well. If you want to leave Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup, that's fine. When he's healthy, he's been great. But Evan Fournier and Julius Randle, please leave the starting lineup and leave the New York Knicks. I would probably, honestly, Alec Burks, somebody, even Quentin Grimes, I would take over Fournier. I'm tired of seeing him make one shot and miss 5 in a row, make 2 and miss 17. And I'm tired of seeing Julius Randle have 8 turnovers and a negative 37 rating on the court. So at this point, I would even start Obi Toppin over him. He's looked very much better than last year. He was not bad in his rookie year, but didn't get a ton of playing time. He's played more. He looks more confident. He's shooting the ball more. He's more athletic, even more athletic this year. So at this point, I guess you keep Kemba in until you can find another point guard. RJ, at this point, either Quentin Grimes or Alec Burks is probably my 3. Obi Toppin and Mitchell Robinson. Of course, you got, Taj Gibson there once in a while. Emmanuel Quickly, and other guys to rotate in. That's probably your best shot at this point, and I would definitely look to get a really good point guard, maybe like Jalen Brunson. If Jeremy Grant's available, he's a really good scorer. He would be a big upgrade over Julius Randle. I would try to go get him, and maybe if they can get one more bench piece, that'd be nice too. But something needs to be done in New York.
Bing bong. Never been the same since that. By the way, they just get destroyed every game after sideline talks. New York City went over to MSG with the Celtics to see the Knicks fans after they beat the Celtics in double overtime. It was a crazy game, but the fans were even crazier. There we go. They're doing it all out of spite. That's what it is. These Knicks players like, you're being smug about it. After us winning the first game, let's just lose now. Kenley, what do you think about the Knicks?
The Knicks, I'm a Raptors fan, but with the Knicks, what I see here, a good trade piece for them. I'm going to tell you this, Jake, right now. I'm thinking Julius Randle. How about get another big man for another big man that could actually get in there in the box, can make some plays, could be a stretch 4 or 5, right? I'm thinking Julius Randle, John Collins.
I would love that.
Julius Randle right now, a bit of a slump this season right now. He's supposed to be your main scorer, but right now it's looking like RJ Barrett is taking that spot as your top scorer right now. And I see you guys like it. I know. A good side piece, a good sidekick for him would be John Collins, honestly. I guess the Atlanta Hawks felt it was wrong giving him that big contract last year at the end of the playoffs. So now they feel like he's on the trade. He should be on the trade. He should be in the trade rumor. And honestly, I feel that's a good trade right there. You get a guy that's younger, fresh, who can ball out, is really athletic, He can get you those rebounds. John Collins, he really has some upside to him. And I feel like the Knicks really need something like that. They need to go fresh. He's 24 years old. Uh, for his career, he's been scoring 16 points per game and 8 rebounds. 8 rebounds. And I believe that's way more than Randall because with Randall, he's a guy that wants to stretch the court out and shoot threes and thinks that he's uh, Ray Allen or something like that when he should be getting up in there in the paint, because with his size, he's a guy that should be getting up in the paint. And they figured him out. He's been in a slump this season, and I'm quite disappointed. But Randall, he's usually getting 9 rebounds, but this season it looks like he did not really get better on the defensive side of things. The offense side of things, it's been going downhill. Yeah, he needs to get into the box in more. There's just nothing right now that's impressive with Julius Randle right now. Although the stats say he's scoring 18 points per game, getting 9 rebounds, but the games, he's not really looking good. His teammates are not looking good for it. With him taking a slump this season because he was their number one guy heading towards this season, but seems like RJ Barrett is getting better. He's taking that spot, and I think you need to start putting in Toppin, who's way more athletic, I would say, and a trade with Julius Randle and John Collins definitely needs to happen right now. I think they need to do it. They need to get younger, but that's a good piece because he's experienced in the playoffs, just like how Barrett is. So you trade a guy that's young and has been in the postseason, has been in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, as opposed to Randall. So that's a trade I'm looking for if I'm the Knicks. I'm looking to get that deal done. And as for other trade rumors, I said Ben Simmons and Harden trade, that deal. I said something about that, but I'm hearing something with Westbrook too. I want to ask you guys, where do you think Westbrook could go? Because honestly, man, I have to say, like, things are not looking good for Westbrook in LA right now. It's his team. I believe LeBron should leave, but that's not going to happen. It's his team. That's something way over the top. But think about it. Westbrook is from LA. He's comfortable being in LA. This is home for him. But I understand he's in a slump right now. He's not shooting pretty well. He's shooting in the side of the backboard. The shooting is the 3-point shooting. That's something that Westbrook can't be. He's not a Stephen Curry. He's not going to shoot lights out consistently. That's just not him. He's a guy that's getting your face, ha ha ha, like that. The slasher. He has a great slasher ability. The thing with Westbrook is that I'm trying to make it brief. The thing with Westbrook, they're trying to make him something that he's not, obviously, and with LeBron, that's the thing with LeBron teams. They try to put people at spots where, like, oh, he needs that 3-and-D guy, a guy that can play defense but shoot lights out. That's what LeBron wants, surrounded around him. Why he brings the ball up and be that point forward that he is, But you can't do that. I feel LeBron, what Westbrook he's the LeBron. He's a LeBron. LeBron is the better version of Westbrook. You get what I'm saying? So he could shoot a little bit better. So his 3-point percentage is much better. So LeBron is the better version out of the two. But I would prefer if the Lakers if Westbrook really wants to stay there, if they could fix the situation, the front office, the coach. Vogel's not saying much. He's gonna get out of here soon, guys. But to fix the situation with the Lakers, I would have Westbrook bring the ball up because that was a waste. That was on LeBron. Bring him in there. So now you want him to get traded now? What I would do is have Westbrook bring the ball up more, have him carry the load, and LeBron could play in the wing and take the shots. But it's actually LeBron's fault. I don't understand why he's in a trade rumor. So what I would have to say is, where does Westbrook go from here? We're already talking about him moving around team to team. Where does he go from here? But this was a waste of time for Westbrook here because I thought he would get the ball more. He would have more of the ball usage, but all of a sudden, the King still has the throne. He still has the keys to that. But Yeah, I would like to know where can he go next? Because
The harsh reality for Westbrook is that LeBron will never be blamed. It will never ever be LeBron's fault. He could play like garbage. He could have a negative 100 net rating, and they will still blame Westbrook for having 10 turnovers. Like no, he's not playing well. He isn't, but it's not all his fault. I think I would blame the GM for this. Um, I would have to say, where does he go from here? My answer, personally, retirement. I don't think he comes back from this because you've been on 3 teams now, and all of them you have been nothing short of lackluster. Like you, like I don't think. I think he should have ended his career in OKC. Screw the rings, go for the Hall of Fame. End your career in OKC. You're already. When he was in Oklahoma City, there was no other point guard like that guy. He was a talent like no one's ever seen. And
box
unfortunately,
office, box office.
yeah, exactly, box office guy, scary guy to play against. But now you look at him and it's like, haha, Westbrook. Yeah, he's not as scary as he used to be. He's not this guy that you look at on the court and be like, we're taking dubs. That's it. We're winning it all now. It's because it didn't happen when they had Harden and Kevin Durant on that team, and I don't think it's going to happen for him ever. As for the Knicks, with that trade, I heard it back in November. I remember there's a fire drill here, and I remember reading Bleacher Report people saying like on the comments to trade Randall, and I was like, I could see it, but I didn't. I was like, let's give him a bit more time. But now I'm like, let's just trade Randall. Let's go, get him out of here. And Kenley, I really liked your trade for John Collins. I happen to like John Collins. I think he should get off the Hawks because I think he's too good for them. I really do. I think he's a good player. He gives me nice fantasy points. So I think he would actually be very, very good for the Knicks. Another big trade that came out. This was just recently put on Bleacher Report. Is that there might be a Duncan Robinson trade for Christian Wood. Now that is interesting and stupid. I think it's stupid because you're trading a guard for a forward when your forward line consists of Bam Adebayo, Max Strus. Bam Adebayo. Max Strus does tend to play as small forward from time to time, but Bam Adebayo, Dwayne Dedmon, and Omer Yurtseven, who have all proved themselves in some way, especially Yurtseven, who proved himself when Dwayne Dedmon and Bam Adebayo were out. Like, I just don't see where Christian Wood's gonna fit here, because you're not gonna put him at the 3, because that's where Jimmy Butler plays. I guess you're gonna have to make Christian Wood a power forward then at that point, because I don't think he's really gonna be part of anything else. I don't think. I mean, it would definitely give you a lot more size because currently PJ Tucker's your starting forward and he's not that big, but he's strong. But Christian Wood, when he got on Houston, he looked like an all-star. So I think it's a big deal, especially to get Duncan out of there. But you're losing a guard and putting up and not getting a guard back for him, which I think is very interesting.
It's just, I think Christian would be good a piece for my team, the Raptors, because we need a center. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand Miami doing that. As we know, they're contenders. They're number 1 in the East right now. I don't understand. That's just a dumb trade on their part. If Houston could get a deal in anywhere, it'll be good for them. But for Miami, that's just a dumb trade. You have a decent front court. And you know how aggressive PJ Tucker can be. And we know how damaged. I just saw play yesterday. He played decently fine against Knicks. Unfortunately for Jake, they lost, But hey, these guys proved their heart. They played their hearts out, and they proved that they could play a big part in Miami's championship run, hopefully for them. And I don't understand this trade at all. I think Miami's completely fine. Why you have the big man? You have Adebayo, who's all-star worthy, and I can't really see that trade happening, honestly. There's other teams that need a big man.
You know what, Jake? I want to hear your thoughts about Russell Westbrook and the Heat, real quick, before we move on to our next topic, which also happens to be about Miami.
All right, first, Russell Westbrook. Okay, when this trade happened, want to know what my reaction was? With new Spider-Man movie coming out in honor of that, flashback to the second Spider-Man movie ever made. You serious? As J. Jonah Jameson would say from Spider-Man. I knew this was not going to work. That was never going to work, okay? That was never going to work. LeBron, you got LeBron and AD and really no one else there before the Westbrook trade, okay? Kyle Kuzma was terrible in the Lakers. He's played a lot better. Caldwell Pope wasn't cutting it. Montrez wasn't cutting it. No one was cutting it. He needed a point guard that could shoot the three. And Russell Westbrook I have not seen him make a three in like 3 years. So I knew that wasn't going to work. And you're right, it's not all his fault. It's really not. I do not think LeBron James has been good enough. I don't care what his numbers are. I do not give a flying what his numbers are, okay? I don't care. He's not been good enough. This team should not be a 500 basketball team. As bad as the Knicks have been, the Lakers are like 2 games better than them. That's embarrassing. I know Anthony Davis has been injured. I know that. He was out for over a month. He was out for like 5 weeks. He missed like 20 games. But still, this team, LeBron has carried worse teams than this to the NBA Finals. And he's got Russell Westbrook, who people say is a Hall of Famer, and he can't. And they're a 500 basketball team. That is embarrassing. LeBron should be embarrassed. And like this was never going to work. And now he's going to get Frank Vogel fired, probably like the 19th coach that LeBron has gotten fired with his dumb ASS. Like he needs to go. I don't care where he goes. Just don't go to New York. We don't want you in New York. Okay? But anywhere else, because it is not working in LA. The experiment has failed. Push the red button. Just do something. I've heard him going back to Houston Rockets for John Wall. John Wall has not played a single game this year. Obviously, two sides both want to trade. He's past his prime. Obviously, had a lot of injuries. Money is a problem. Though the salaries match up. Both are, of course, vastly overpaid. I do think he's still a very good player. He would be a better fit. But if you're the Rockets and you're rebuilding, why are you taking back Russell Westbrook? Like, you got to be sure you could trade him this offseason, which I don't think that's a sure thing. Like, they're going to be able to trade him for even anything close to equal value in the offseason? No. And if you're the Lakers, like, I think Joe Wall is an improvement. You can't get any worse. Like at this point, they might as well take Julius Randle for him. Like, that's how bad Russell Westbrook's been. So, like, Wall will be an upgrade over what they need and a point guard that can shoot, but still, there are better options out there. And I think maybe they sneak into the playoffs as the 6th seed with John Wall. But this team should be, top 3 in the West and going to the NBA Finals and probably win the NBA Finals. And they're not even going to sniff that. Like, if season ends today, they'd be even if they come out of the play-ins as the 8th seed or even the 7th seed, they're going to end up playing Phoenix or Golden State, and I don't think they'd be either of those teams, especially Phoenix. So I think Russ has got to get out of there. I mean, I don't know where he's going to go. I don't think that trade for John Wall makes sense because Houston's going to want to trade him in the offseason. I don't think they'll be able to do that. And I don't think John Wall pushed the envelope enough for the Los Angeles Lakers to where they want to go, which is an NBA championship. As for the other one, as for the Heat, I don't think they need anything, honestly. They're first in the East, and they've been battling injuries and COVID all year. Like, they just got Tyler Hero back. Kyle Lowry's not even back yet. He's still a decent player, somewhat decent player. I mean, I don't think there's a need to, move out a guy in Duncan Robinson. When he's hot, is a good player. That's not all the time. Sometimes he struggles sometimes. And Christian Wood, I think he's a great player. Like you guys talk, like, we're really gonna put him. I mean, you already got Jimmy Butler. You already got Bam. PJ Tucker seems to fit there. Yeah, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero. Like, I don't know where he really fits on that team. And there's no reason to give up the things they would have to give up to get him when they could win a title without him. Even if they don't, their window is open enough where they can go out and sign a guy, in the offseason. I mean, going back to James Harden could be, I don't think it's completely out of the blue him going there. He win a title there. Miami, I would rather live in Miami than Brooklyn any day of the week. Alex Spoelstra is a much better coach. You won't have issues with the rotations. So I don't see the Heat getting Christian Wood because it's not a good fit, and I don't think the Heat need to make a big move.
No, they don't. Before we move on to our next talk, which is about the Heat, Jake, remember about a year ago we asked, why do the Timberwolves suck?
We did.
What if I told you that the Timberwolves are currently better than the Clippers, Lakers, and Trailblazers?
The way the NBA has gotten, I don't believe it. By the way, Timberwolves, you're welcome.
Yeah, guys, you're very welcome. We just need to, we had to, push you out a little bit. We had to rip on you on our podcast for you to finally wake up and do well. Anyway, so as you've talked about, the Heat are number one. They are kind of in the East is a lot tighter, obviously, but they are currently standing at number one, and the Suns are currently solidifying their spot at number one. They're right now on an 8-game win streak, which I think is their second highest since like their 16-game win streak back at the beginning of the season. Kenley, Heat and Suns, are these guys finals contenders or what?
Whew. Hey, Suns, Heat. Oh my gosh, those two teams. Guess what? Hey, tell me now. What do they have all in common? Right now, tell me right now.
No Westbrook.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one. But Heat and Sun. Think about it.
Yeah, that's right. The Heat and the Sun. Yeah, the Sun.
Burned.
Yeah, the Sun brings out the Heat.
You'll get torched, right? Okay, that's me just joking around. All right, that's just me being a clown. But hey, I would like to see a Suns Heat matchup in the NBA Finals. It'll definitely be a classic. With early in the season with the predictions, with the NBA Finals predictions, I didn't really like them. I didn't trust them. We had Lakers versus Brooklyn Nets. I didn't really believe in that for sure. It was likely. I did not believe in that for sure because with the Lakers just acquiring Russell Westbrook, I did not think that it was a fit from the beginning. All right, so I just excluded him from contending because if LeBron was going to be taking a step back with his play and you had Westbrook take the reins with the ball, and maybe I gave him a chance. But what you see now, they're falling apart right now. Same you could say for Brooklyn. I don't see them getting up there in the top 3 seeds right now. They're 4 behind Cleveland. Cleveland is a surprise out of nowhere, but the way the East is, it's tight, it's close. The East has gotten better, it's gotten stronger. The conference, it's tight. The Bulls are falling off a little bit in a way. You have Cleveland out of nowhere at the 3rd spot. I do definitely see. I see the Heat being in the finals, definitely in the Eastern Conference Finals. They are the complete team, and they can actually beat the Bucks again, the defending champs, in the 2nd round. If that's what it's looking like, and I could likely see that. Their defense is ferocious. Their offense, they got great playmaking ability from Hero, Butler, and you have Kyle Lowry that could set. He was a really good point guard who has championship experience, so they should be fine in the sense they have the experience. You have Butler championship experience at the bio, so this team is complete and they're stacked and set. But as for the Suns, the Suns, they also have experience. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. 2 out of 3 guys are young and they're fresh. They're ready to go. They're equipped with their play and with their playoff experience. They have the mental preparedness for each game, for each playoff game. They'll be fine, especially being guided by Chris Paul, who is one of the greatest point guards of all time now. Hopefully he can get that chip. But of course these guys are championship contenders. Two of the last 2 finals consisted of those 2 teams. So it wouldn't be surprised if those 2 reach the finals. I guess that should be the number one. That should be the odds-on favorite for a finals matchup. That matchup. Other than that, I see maybe Golden State and a Golden State Miami matchup. So yeah.
Yeah, I think they're both absolutely finals contenders. I think the Heat come out of the Eastern Conference. I mean, they're first in the Eastern Conference right now, and that's with all their injuries. Omer Yurtseven, who's this Turkish, just the Turkish psychopath, as he just dies. The guy who I've never even heard of, probably the majority of the world never even heard of, and he's putting up 21-10, 17-12, 19-11, like 8 games straight when they didn't have Bam Adebayo, and they are still winning. When they had without Bam, Hero, Lowry, Jimmy Butler, they were still, and they were beating top teams as well. So I think the Heat are rolling. You got Jimmy Butler, who's a star. Bam Adebayo is a fantastic player. Tyler Heroes is going to be 6th man of the year. Kyle Lowry is a very good player. They got the deepest bench in the league with Hero. You got Yurtseven. You got, Gabe Vincent will go back to the bench soon. Dwayne Dedman. Duncan Robinson when he's hot can shoot the lights out. Victor Oladipo, who's been injured for like a year.
You're missing somebody.
Max Strus.
Max Strus.
That's why you're doing that. Okay, Max Strus. Their bench is the deepest bench in the league. They got the best bench in the league, and they got the best defense in the league. Probably the best coach in the league. Probably the best GM in the league. Like, they got everything going for them. And the Suns have been rolling all year. You got probably the best backcourt in the league with Booker and Chris Paul. You got Mikal Bridges is a great 3-point shooter. Cam Johnson's a great 3-point shooter. Mikal Bridges is an amazing defender. Ayton's a great center. Cameron Payne, we saw him in the playoffs. He's a really good bench player. You got some other good players like Dario Saric. Monty Williams done a fantastic job over there. He's always been a good coach. I thought he was prematurely fired in New Orleans. The shame what happened to his wife. Why he stepped away. Then he went back as an assistant, and now he got the Phoenix job. And within 2 or 3 years, he's there. The Suns are probably the best team in the NBA. So I think both are absolutely finals contenders, and I think that will be the NBA Finals matchup.
This is big because we're a Heat family back home. Hi, Mom. And they are. I went into the season saying that the Heat are an underrated team. I said Jimmy Butler is one of the most underrated players in the league, and I still stand by that. I do still stand by that. Let's first talk about the Suns, though. The Suns are they're dominant. Everybody's talking about the Warriors, Steph Curry, Splash Brothers are back, Klay Thompson is back. Klay Thompson's not back. Klay Thompson's not back. He's not gonna have another 37-point quarter like he did that one time. No, never again. He will never play. I don't think he's ever gonna come back to that form, but he's playing good, I guess. But you have Devin Booker, Chris Paul, when the DeAndre, they are great, but the Suns are looking scary. And you think about it, if you think about like 5 years ago, this team was a laughing stock. And I wasn't really high on this train that Chris Paul brings teams to the playoffs, but they are right about it. He is the leader in clutch time. Last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, he comes through and helps win the game. As for the Heat, what more can we say? Max Strus. I think everything about them is underrated. I think Jimmy Butler's underrated. I think their bench is underrated. I think they do have one of the best benches in the league. And it's not really like what some of these big name players are. Like you didn't really pay a lot for the Caleb Martin, for Max Strus, Omar Yurtsev, and Gabe Vincent. You didn't Dwayne Dedman. You didn't really have to, have to, throw up a lot of luxury tax for them, and you're still winning even when you were down Jimmy Butler and Bam. Like, that's big that you know how to adapt and conquer like that, especially against some tough teams in the East and the West.
Think about it. They're number one. Their defense, team defense efficient rating is number one.
Yeah,
And with those guys out, like they're number one, and then number 4 is Phoenix. So it's definitely possible you see those teams, and doing this without Butler at a certain point.
yeah, I can see this. I'm not. I wouldn't see. I could see them making to the finals. I'm not even sure if I could say who would come out on top more, because I think this game could go to 7. I think if everybody is at full strength, this game on both sides, this team goes to 7. And who wins there? Then I'm not sure. I'd be happy if both teams win. Obviously, I'd be happier if the Heat won, but the Suns, I'd be just as happy to win because it would make a great storyline. Anyway, let's move on to All-Stars. All-Star Weekend. Who's excited? I know I'm excited. It's coming up in about 2 weeks. It's going to come up the week of All-Star break, the week of Super Bowl Sunday. So it's very close around the corner. The starters just came out. Mickey Mouse All-Star starters. Let's talk about the East, which isn't as bad. So the East goes as follows for the starters. DeMar DeRozan, Trae Young, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, who's the captain, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Jake, East, what are we thinking?
I thought the right guys were picked. Kevin Durant obviously won't play in it because he's injured, but based on the way he was playing before the injury, I do agree that he should have been a starter. I mean, I don't really know why the NBA wouldn't step in and be like, you gotta go for somebody else because he's been out for like 2 weeks at this point. I mean, he's gonna replace anyway. You might as well just, you're just delaying the inevitable. But Trae, as Nick Finn, I'm not a fan. He's a fantastic player. Definitely deserved it. DeMar DeRozan, say what you want about him. He has been phenomenal this year. Absolutely deserved to get in. Giannis is one of my favorite players. He definitely deserved to get in. And was Joel Embiid named a starter?
Yes.
Yes, and Joel Embiid definitely deserved to get in as well. I do agree with the East starters. Alfred Durant won't start. He's not going to play in it because he's got the knee problem, whatever he's got. Who's going to replace him? Not too sure about that. Maybe Domantas Sabonis in Indiana. I've heard that name floated. I could see him deserving to be an All-Star.
Max Strus.
Max Strus. I could even, if Jimmy Butler was healthy, I probably would have said him. Same thing with Bam Adebayo. They probably won't get in because they haven't played enough games. I'm not too sure who's going to replace him. I think Domantas Sabonis could be a good candidate. I think he'd be a good choice. But I do agree with the Eastern Conference also, aside from Durant, because Durant's hurt.
Well, for as far as the East, I would say it looks good. DeMar DeRozan, he surprised me this season. Really much improved. He's taking control of things in the Bulls. That makes sense. Trae Young is just another version of Steph Curry here. You got another version of Steph Curry in the East. One thing I want to know before I start mentioning everybody else, is it East versus West again? Or
Yes.
is it East versus West? Not the team captains?
Well, it is
Just
the
me.
team captains, but it's no. Actually, you're right, Kenley. It'll be team Durant. Technically, Team Durant. He's not going to be he won't be playing in the game. He's injured versus Team LeBron.
Okay. That's just to be sure. But yeah, as far as these lineups, I like them. The starter, not the starting lineup, but the starters. Trae Young, Joel Embiid, he's playing his lights out, top and 3 MVP candidates. Same for Giannis. And at one point, and I believe right now, DeMar DeRozan should be a top, should be in the conversation for MVP too. Because at one point he's scoring back-to-back game winners. You know what I'm saying? Doing something Durant didn't do, or Embiid or a Giannis that they didn't do that. But I agree with the East, NBA East All Stars lineup. As far as the West, you have Wiggins. That came out of nowhere to me. He's been balling. He's improved from where he was at Minnesota. I get that. He has very much improved. He's playing well. Him and Curry are a good fit together, especially with Klay Thompson back. That's a good fit together. But I don't know about him being in the lineup, starting being a starter. But as for Steph Curry, of course, 8-time All-Star. He's having a worse shooting 3-point shooting season, but he's still managing to lead his team to victories. But he broke the record this year. Really proud of him for that. And then you also have LeBron. Hey, he's always going to be there. You know, LeBron is always going to be in contention to be an all-star starter. You know, so you have that. The other one that I'm missing here is, who am I missing here for the West? Jokic, right? You have Jokic. He's a starter, I believe. It says right here. Let me check my notes. I believe it's Jokic, right? He's the center.
The lineup, the starters for the West are Steph Curry, John Morant, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and Andrew Wiggins.
Okay, yeah, Jokic is that's a right. He's right. They're right for having him start there. That makes sense. He's a top. I think he's honestly going to win the MVP back to back this year. He's been doing everything for Denver. He's taken over since Jamal Murray's been gone. He's been pretty much playing his heart out, doing all that he can to keep Denver a top team in the West. John Morant, you could say the same for him. At one point, they weren't doing well with him there, but then they as a team, they started to figure out with him playing in the lineup, and he's been playing his butt off. Honestly, John Morant, and he's I would say he's a much better version of a Westbrook, a much better version. He's a better archetype than a Westbrook because I believe I can trust him more, you know, with shooting the three and making his teammates better. But I agree with it with the lineups, but the West is kind of iffy when you add Andrew Wiggins as in the starting lineup. That's all I'm gonna say there. But I wish it could be East versus West again for this year's All Stars, but I guess it would be a mismatch.
Yeah, I am. As for the East, I think all of them deserve it. They all play very well. All of them deserve to be a starter. For the West, John Morant, good for him. Really, I think John Morant's an MVP favorite. I think he would deserve it. Where it gets bad for me is what you said, Kenley. Andrew Wiggins. I think he's a good player, but where's Devin Booker?
Where's Doncic?
Yeah, where's Luka? Where's Devin? Where are these guys? I don't know what pack these fans are smoking to where they decided that they're probably on some kind of hallucinogenic honey where they said Andrew Wiggins deserves to be an all-star starter. Like I just don't get it. I really don't. Hopefully hopefully these guys will make the reserves, but I just don't even agree with that either. To even utter the words out of my mouth that Luka Doncic and Devin Booker are going to be potentially reserves this year, it's gross. It really is. And by the way, for some reason, Klay might be a reserve, which I also find is ridiculous. Enough said with that, though. Well, actually, Jake, what are your thoughts on the West, real quick? What are your thoughts on the Western Conference starters?
John Morant definitely deserves to get in. I think the top 2 MVP candidates at this point might be John Morant and Nikola Jokic. So I think those 2 guys deserve to get in. I'm fine with Steph Curry. He's definitely an MVP candidate. He's been struggling a bit lately. He's been a little nicked up, but he's having an incredible year. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. There's LeBron. I mean, he's so popular. He'll always get in. I don't think he should have been the captain, but he's LeBron, so LeBron gets what he wants. So probably does deserve to be an All-Star starter, I guess. Moving on, Andrew Wiggins does not deserve to be an All-Star starter. He is a very good player. He's had an excellent year, maybe the best of his career. You could make an argument for him to be a reserve, maybe, but not as an All-Star starter. I would have given it to Luka Doncic or Devin Booker, like he said. So I thought that was very confusing.
Now, Jake, it's been like 3 months, dude. We need to update our NBA power rankings.
Yes, we do. I will share my screen right now.
Well, let's move. Let's make a quick move on these real quick, because I think some changes are obvious. Then we have the Warriors at number 1. That's gonna change. We had the Sun. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, the Magic are still the worst. We got that right. All right. Good. I'll start first. Move the Heat to second. I still think the Suns are better than them, but I don't think. I think. Oof. I mean, we've really got to look here and see some changes. Like the Wizards got to drop way down, right? Like this is. Kenley, you see any people that need to get moved? Like any teams that you think should be heightened or lowered?
I see that. I'm gonna start with my Toronto.
Go down to Toronto, Jake. Let's see what we got.
You have them be fine. I'd say you would have to put Indiana behind not only Toronto but New Orleans.
I would agree.
And Toronto's right behind Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean,
and they were just competing with Chicago.
Cleveland's got to move up.
Cleveland's definitely moving up.
And Toronto was playing against Chicago, top 2 team, and we were able to compete down to the last second. So isn't that crazy? And you see how much lower they are. I think they should be at like around 14, but it's understandable because everybody's even. Once you get past the 13th spot, it's even, So Jazz should be up higher, but they've lost the top 2 teams in the West, and we have been in the Jazz, Toronto. So it's an all over the place right now. So it's Brooklyn's falling apart, but they should stay right where they're at. Lakers are good where they are right there. They're good where they are.
We got to bring up Memphis. We got to bring up Memphis.
Yes, we do. I was just
that's something that needs to happen.
We were so wrong about Memphis.
I'll bring the Timberwolves up a little bit.
Yeah, I'd bring the T-Wolves up. Yeah, I think I definitely switch the Kings of the T-Wolves. I think that would be literally a perfect flip.
Wow, we had them low.
Yeah, we had them low, but that was because we ripped on them so much about how much they sucked. They finally woke up. I think our final 3 are pretty good. I think that's fine. We gotta move the Timberwolves.
I'm making some more edits.
Sacramento, that's good. Yeah. I think we should also take the Mavericks and move them above the Lakers and Clippers at least. Move them above the Knicks, actually. Like, they are
definitely playing better basketball.
I think Knicks should go down a few spots.
Knicks should go down to probably. I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Hornets though. I wouldn't say the Hornets are the 26th.
They should be up a little bit
Yeah,
higher.
they're up towards. I'm gonna move Dallas Fire too, but they're towards.
Yeah, they've been playing. I mean, they had a monster game yesterday. They're having 158 points. I mean, they've been
But I
looking.
feel like they should not be higher than the teams they lost to the past 5 days. I'm not being biased here. I think they should be a little bit lower.
You're saying Charlotte?
Yeah, at 18. Because we're right there with them. We just blown out the Charlotte Hornets. But the spot that you put them at, I guess it's fine. I would say 13. 13 is, I think Philly's better than Charlotte.
I don't know. I mean, are we really safe with saying the Timberwolves are better than the Hornets?
The records
I
are
think
about the same.
Yeah, and Anthony Edwards has been playing out of his mind.
That's true.
He's a freak of nature. I would say better than LaMelo.
I know I should say it. I can say it. I think this looks fine. I mean, in any other scenario, putting the Celtics at 20th is stupid, but it's not because Celtics playing like garbage. Yeah, move the Hawks down. Yeah.
So where's Toronto at?
Toronto's at 23rd. I think I'd put them over the Kings and the Wizards at
Celtics
least.
too.
Yeah, I think I put them up final 3 exactly.
I think they're tied with the Celtics even. I wouldn't put them higher than the Celtics. I wouldn't even do that, but they're neck and neck right there. So
yeah, I think that looks fine. Yeah. I'm pretty confident with that one.
Yeah, we got the Suns, Heat, Warriors, Bulls, Nets, the top 5. Running up the top 10, we got Jazz, Cavs, Grizzlies, Bucks, Nuggets. Next 5, Sixers, T-Wolves, Hornets, Knicks. Let's put Dallas ahead of. I'm gonna lower Portland a bit. Honestly, Dallas should probably be better than. I'm gonna move Knicks down a lot. Honestly,
Yeah. The Knicks are trash.
They really are. You got
Yeah,
Dallas, the Clips, Lake Show, Portland. I'll put the Knicks. I will put the Knicks ahead of the Blazers at least with Dame and McCollum out. McCollum's back with Dame's out. Portland, Atlanta, Boston, Toronto, Sacramento, Washington, of course, is tumbled. San Antonio, New Orleans, Indiana, Houston, Detroit, OKC. It doesn't really matter, but I'll put OKC ahead, Detroit. And then the rounding at the bottom 2 is Detroit and Orlando.
Okay, perfect. Now, we got a long episode today because we got a lot to talk about. But now we're at the most fun part of the show. Everybody likes it. You hate to see it. So, Kenley, here's how it goes. We picked out over the week or so a few sports moments, whether videos or headlines or something, and you're gonna need to rate 1 out of 10 how much you hate to see it. 1, you don't. 1, it's not that big of a deal. 10, it's like this is terrible. So let's get started. Jake, take it away.
Okay, so first off, I'm gonna hide the main headlines so I can explain it. We not talk about baseball today because there's nothing going on because they're in a lockout. Lockout is equal to like a strike, so there's nothing going on. Zach Britton is a relief pitcher for the New York Yankees. His brother is a coach. I think is a minor league coach in the league. All the MLB employees cannot talk to each other. That means technically Zach Britton cannot talk to his own brother because his brother Buck Britton is an assistant coach from the minor league team. Kenley, how much do you hate to see Zach Britton technically not being able to talk to his own brother?
Uh, it's just he's not able to talk to his own brother. His brother's not even in the same league. He's in the minor. He's in the major. So this is something I just don't understand. I give this as a 5. That's just unbelievable. I get it. They're in the lockout right now. I find that to be uncalled for. So give it a 5.
I'm gonna have to give this a 10 for a few things. Number one, the news was tweeted out on December 22nd, which also happens to be this guy's birthday. And second of all, Merry Christmas to the Britton family. Can't even spend time with your own family because Rob Manfred's an idiot. 10 out of 10. God, this sucks. I feel bad for him. Wow.
10 you hate to see it. The guy can't talk to his own brother. So what happens on Christmas? It's like his brother loves he hasn't seen forever. What is this, Succession? They can't talk to each other? Like a Succession, the TV show, where the whole family hates each other? They only talk when it's about the business and when it's about, like, just bashing each other? What is this? This is ridiculous. 10 out of 10, I hate to see it. Okay. The next thing. This is why Julius Randle needs to stop playing basketball. So, great play by Kemba. Gets it to him. Here's Randle. He kicks it out to, oh no! He airmails it. Kenley, how much would you see Julius Randle doing whatever the heck he just did?
A 10 out of 10. Oh, a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. The stats just doesn't see. It looks good, but to me, when you're seeing his play up, when you're seeing his game closely in the game, when you're seeing it live, it's just subpar. And I give this a 10 out of 10, most definitely. This guy's out of New York. He's just not having it this season. It's just not him this season. And good job. Hopefully, does good in future endeavors. He definitely needs to better his resume up. When I mean resume, his game. All right, it's horrid right now. Horrid. 10 out of 10. Hate to see it.
I'm gonna give this an 8 because it doesn't surprise me. What really surprised me though is that the name Julius Randle's in the same area as Kobe Bryant and Dr. J. God, that hurts. But rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. By the way, 2 years yesterday. Unfortunate. That's very sad. But he's so bad. He's so bad. He never recovered from the playoffs last year. 8 out of 10. Max Strus is better.
Honestly, at this point, I agree with you. All joking aside, 10, can you hate to see it? What was that? What are you doing? Shot put in the Olympics? 10 out of 10, I hate to see it. Julius Randle, get out of New York now. Okay, my last clip that I have, it's not a clip, it's just a picture. After you saw the terrible job that Vic Fan did in 3 years, I know Sean Khan is a complete moron, but is he really interviewing Vic Fangio for head coach? Tell me, how much you, on scale of 1 to 10, how much you hate to see Vic Fangio getting another head coach interview that he clearly does not deserve?
10 out of 10, I hate to see it. Big Panther had a chance. I know he had a QB situation problem. I get that. All right. But the receiving core looked fine. They had everything that they wanted on offense. Defense, it looks like they were building on that, but you still had Chubb. There was still some potential. You had Patrick Surtain. But this team was at one point 2-0 or 3-0 until the Ravens came up and just lit up the place. Until Lamar just lit up the damn place with Marquise Brown and Andrews. But they were living large. It looks like they were going to be the top team in the AFC. And all of a sudden, they just, it went away. You know, you had injuries with Teddy Bridgewater, I understand that, but Vic Fangio, there's no reason for him to get another job, head coach job in the NFL. Granted, the NFL, so 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 because I think the Jaguars front office looked at this and said, "All right, let's not go for a good coach. Let's go for a coach who can even be an upgrade for Urban Meyer." Like, it really can't get any worse than him. He's probably one of the worst coaches I've ever seen, and I had to deal with the Adam Gase era. He stunk. Vic Fangio's not good, but at least for what we know is faithful to his wife. 9 out of 10. I do hate to say it.
I'm giving it 8 out of 10. It's ridiculous. He didn't deserve a head coach. He doesn't deserve a head coach job. He, as a defensive coordinator, yes, he's a very good defensive coordinator. He'll probably have a job as a defensive coordinator probably for the next 2 weeks, especially when he got 8 or 9 different, head coaching changes. Meaning that's all those head coaches will bring on their own defensive coordinator, and you'll have teams who will fire the defensive coordinator, and they might bring him in. So he'll get a defensive coordinator job, head coach now. That is a no for me, dog. 8 out of 10. I hate to see it. Let me enable screen share. And then Justin, go ahead and
all right. I got 2 quick ones, basketball related. Okay, let's first watch this game here. So watch this play. Taking up the floor. This is I believe Aaron Holiday, not Drew Holiday. Because this was because Drew Holiday's on the Bucks, of course. But here we go. Pass over to Holiday. What was that? What kind of shot was that 3-pointer? Let me just show it to you guys one more time. So here we go. Pass it over. Holiday, nice laser beam straight to the front of the backboard. Nice accurate move. Kenley, how much you hate to see it?
7 out of 10. I hate to see that. The reason why it's a 7 out of 10. Yeah, this is baffling to me and funny at the same time. But like, this is something that's going to be seen in Shaq and the Fool. This is a really awkward shot that he has to form. I don't know what was that. That was really, really ugly. That's something I don't want to see again, but hey, he's even laughing about it himself too. He knows this is going to be Shaq the Fool. 7 out of 10.
That's an 8 out of 10 for me. This shot is a Houston for the Indiana Pacers season. What the heck is going on with them? Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, even with TJ Warren out, they should be at least competing for a playoff spot in the East, and they're not. Please blow that team up. Get rid of everybody. What was that? What was that? Were you practice shooting things out of a cannon while on the basketball court? That was terrible. 8 out of 10. I hate to see it.
I'm just gonna call that. Yeah, I'm just gonna call that a 9 out of 10. Pretty bad shot. Okay, next clip. You guys know. Westbrook gets a rebound. Westboard. Ladies and gentlemen, Russell Westbrook in the house. Here he comes. Gets to a bit of a hot spot here. Hits the top of the backboard. Kenley, how much you hate to see it? Top of the backboard shot.
How do you hit the side of the backboard? How do you do that? You cannot play in the NBA and you do something like this and you hit the high side of the backboard, the side of the back. Are you kidding? I'm really this is Russell's Westbrook's hot spot. That mid range that he likes to take, and you're gonna hit the side of the backboard. This, that's something that where it's like, okay, it looks like he found his rhythm, but when I see it, like when I see this, it looks like the form was off a little bit, and he brings the ball up, but he's just out of control. This is a 9 out of 10. I hate to see it. This guy's out of control. How do you hit? Not even the side of the backboard, the top of the backboard. Like, come on, you can't do that. Yes, this guy has to love shooting to be great. Yeah, it's gonna take some time to improve on that if he really wants to still be in the league. But doing that right there, this guy's gonna have to like shooting to be able to. He's gonna have to show his passion with improving on that. If he's not gonna do that, he's not gonna be here for long. This is something that I hate to see. I would say this is a 10 out of 10. This is disgusting. This is
7 out of 10. I hate to see it would have been a 10, but I'm not a fan of Russell Westbrook. I think he's just a stat pattern. He loves his triple doubles. The guy can't shoot. He is straight trash in the playoffs. He's a turnover machine. It's fine to turn him over 12 times if you're putting up 30, 35 points. But when you're literally hitting the top of the backboard from like 12 feet away, that is not okay. The turnover machine. He can't shoot. He's horrible in the playoffs. He doesn't fit on my team. He's washed. Get this guy out of the league. Just exile him from the league. He should be banned from touching a basketball anywhere. I don't care if he's playing at his driveway with his 3-year-old kid. No, he is not allowed to touch a basketball. Enough of this guy. It was actually kind of funny, so I'll bring it down to a 7, but that's just really, really depressing that an NBA player can miss a 12-foot shot that big.
10 out of 10. Hate to see it. Nice job, Russell West bleached, Russell West brick, Russell washed brick. You almost hit the shot clock. So 10 out of 10. Hate to say it. But last but not least, we are going to have to bring up our athletes of the week. Kenley, I got to ask you, do you have any athlete that you want to shout out who played well this week?
any athlete, like collegiate, professional.
Yep, any athlete you want to shout out.
I would like to shout out. I would like to shout out. It's tough. After watching these games, I'm trying to think of one person. I guess I would like to shout out Freshman Fleet for making the All-Star this year. First time All-Star. I guess I'm not even biased, but first time making All-Star. I give him a shout out.
Breakout season he's been having, really impressive. Jake, who's your athlete of the week?
I'm shouting out my guy, Patrick Mahomes. 13 seconds, needs 40 yards, seems impossible for him. No problem. They posted a picture of like his heart rate during that moment, and it was like a normal heart rate. Like he just didn't care. He was like, I need 40 yards, 13 seconds. Okay, fine with me. The guy is a beast. Has a chance to be one of the greats. He's my athlete of the week.
I'm giving the athlete of the week to the 49ers special teams because that was one of the best defensive plays in playoffs in the NFL playoffs I've ever seen. What a blocked punt that was. Like as much as we could say that the Packers special team sucked, they were really the ones that won the game for them. It literally did. 10 of the points came from the special teams because it was 7 from the touchdown return, another 3 from Robbie Gould. So they were my athlete of the week. But that's going to do it for our show today. One quick person, though, I'd like to shout out is Ben Roethlisberger, who just retired. This guy is, without a doubt, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Hall of Famer, one of the greatest Steelers quarterbacks of all time, probably behind Terry Bradshaw, in my opinion. but he's had a great career. I wish him the best out of retirement. Does anyone have anything to say about Ben Roethlisberger before we close out?
This guy Ben, I'd like to say thank you for what he has done. Well, I know that I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm just saying that for his play, I like to thank him for him being in the NFL for the past few seasons. He's been when he was there, 2 Super Bowls. I mean, breaking records, especially with AB. This guy was Josh Allen before Josh Allen came. You know, if you think about it, guy that he was just so hard to bring down for a sack, and he was a great scrambler. He was just a great scrambler that could make plays inside the pocket and outside the pocket. This guy could bomb a 61-yard touchdown pass. You know, this guy was amazing. He is one of the greatest all time, a great gunslinger, and he had great weapons. I bet he is thankful to be around a great organization in Pittsburgh, Steelers, with a great owner, a great coach, great management. So, this guy's definitely deserves to be in the top 10 and deserves to be in canon.
I've never been a fan of him off the field issue. I think he's a bit of a diva, kind of wants all the attention. He blames other people, but on the field, absolute legend. He's like top 10 in passing yards, passing touchdown the interception ratio career record, 2-time Super Bowl champion. You know, I saw a stat the other day. He was like 30 games over 500 against the AFC North. He was like 26-2 against the Cleveland Browns. Absolute legend. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. First ballot Hall of Famer. Probably a top 10 quarterback ever. What a career he had.
Great career, Ben Roethlisberger. We'll see you in Canton for the Hall of Fame. That's going to be it for our show, guys. Thank you so much for watching the first episode, season 3 of Jake and Just the Morning. Shout out to Kenley for joining for our first episode here.
It's a pleasure.
You know,
it's a pleasure.
course.
I'm willing to do it again. I'm willing to do it again. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. This really helped me doing this. I would be glad to come back again anytime.
Oh, of course, and it's always a lot of fun. But once again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Fill out the guest form so that I can eat Takis on the podcast. So I can have a 5-alarm fire on my tongue for the next hour and a half. And with that, have a great rest of your day. Peace out.
Peace out, y'all.